one more, please. One more, please. Please. One more. Another 10 minutes. One more. Last 10 minutes. This perspective from God concerning the importance of children provides a clear and undeniable message to us. If children matter this much to God, then they should matter as much to us too. The survey data described earlier give us further reason to make first-class ministry to children a top priority. See how fluent I am, how fluent I am. One of the data trails pointed out that most people decide what they will do about Jesus, either wholeheartedly follow, merely acknowledge or ignore or reject him. While they are young, most children are bombarded with cues regarding their eternal condition and fate, and they develop a rather deeply held perspective on the matter prior to entering high school. Clearly, people who maintain that evangelizing and disciplining children is a waste of time. That is, such efforts are better reserved for older individuals, when such an investment can reap a return, are arguing from a base of human reasoning, not from a foundation of hard, cold facts. While we must acknowledge that neither age nor any other barriers preclude God's sovereignty, there are millions of cases in which people connect with Him in their teenage or adult years. See how fluent I am? Very fluently. Fuck. The truth is that such cases are not typical. More often than not, what a person decides about truth, sin, forgiveness, and eternal consequences during the preteen years can span perspective that person carries to the grave and beyond, wherever they may take him or her. This is not simply an issue of effective evangelism. How fluent, how fluent, very fluently. Since genuine evangelism cannot be separated from authentic discipleship, God does not just want people to be saved from eternal damnation, He wants them to be transformed in every dimension of their earthly existence by the miracle of His grace. Children matter to God because He loves them and wants them to experience the best right from the start of their lives. He relies upon us, the teachers and the protectors, to deliver the guidance and experiences they need to grow in their understanding of love for the obedience to Him. Children matter to you and me. Children matter to you and me. Oh yeah, children. Take a moment to name the people who are leaders in your world today. Those who influence your life through their role in government, business, community organizations, the church, and the media. Now consider this. Each one of those individuals was once a child whose potential was identified. It's very fluent, very fluent. Identified, shaped, and released by those who preceded them as leaders. Teachers and other agents of influence, they were equipped to affect the world by those who saw promise in them and who were willing to sacrifice personal resources to advance that potential. Now think about the children who will emerge as the future leaders of our world: government officials, community activists, clergy and parachurch professionals, business executives, school administrators, and media directors. They may receive the basic education and training required to become effective leaders. Reading, writing, mathematics, analytical thinking, relational skills, financial acumen, historical perspective, and so forth. However, who will promote within them the single most important set of skills they will need to succeed according to God's standards? The moral and spiritual bearings. Can we afford to let the moral and spiritual dimension of our future leaders be shaped by default? Really, I'm really improved in comprehension, really. To read too slow, cannot comprehend. To read a little fast, just can comprehend. Christians have a tremendous opportunity to help build a better, more God-honoring world by investing in the moral and spiritual character of future leaders. This trailblazer will need a full arsenal of tools to lead people to productive, meaningful, holy lives. The most important tools, and the ones they will use most often, will be the moral and spiritual principles and practices they embody, which facilitate appropriate choices and enable them to model responsible behavior. Research regarding all facets of moral and spiritual development, whether related to worldview, belief, to behavior, shows that such development starts as early as age 2. The process then progresses rather quickly. Social scientists have known for years that the moral foundations of children are generally determined by the time the individual reaches age 9. Our research confirms a parallel outcome in the spiritual dimension. By age 9, most children have their spiritual moorings in place. The implication of these findings is clear. Anyone who wishes to have significant influence on the development of a person's moral and spiritual foundations had better exert that influence while the person is still open-minded and impressionable. In other words, while the person is still young. By waiting until a person is in his or her late adolescent or teenage year, the nature of the influential attempts must be significantly different, because the spiritual foundation has already been formed and integrated into the person's life. At that stage, spiritual influence requires a more complex process to dislodge what already exists prior to replacing it with a divergent perspective. Research data and personal experience inform us that it is far easier to have influence before the foundations are firm. The older a person gets, the more difficult it is for him or her to replace existing moral and spiritual pillars. Just keep repeating this. What is a lousy book? Our efforts to teach and nurture children are an investment in the future. Theirs and ours, children who are exposed to and embrace godly lives, enjoy life located on God's values and significant opportunities for influential service. Adults who invest in those children will also reap a rich dividend as God's kingdom prospers through the efforts of those young people when they apply what they have learned for decades to come. Ministry. I have been astonished to see how many church people. Okay, enough. Thank you.